right, well, let's get started moving. So we're just gonna move through a few exercises, connecting one thing into the next, and hopefully you'll feel something happening here. So let's come onto your hands and knees, hands under your shoulders, knees under your hips, and just rock your hips a little side to side, bringing your shoulder and hip towards each other, kind of a playful timing. Side bend, side bend, side bend. And of course, like always, I'll layer the exercises so you can add more challenge or keep it more basic depending on how things are feeling today. Then shift your weight forward and back, just opening your wrists in different directions, pushing further forward and back. And then take this into a big circle. So you're circling around, mobilizing your wrists, your shoulders, your knees, your hips, getting things moving a little bit. And reverse the direction, circling around. And last one. Come back to the center. Bring your knees all the way together and find neutral spine. Feel like you're pushing the floor away, connecting the back of the head into the ceiling. Try not to shift your weight backwards as you do this. You're going to lift one hand up to your forehead and rotate your upper body to the side, and then square yourself back off. Try not to look under the arm and round your back. Stay really long. And if you can rotate enough to look under, go for it. But some of you have done this for a while, so if you want to either reach one leg out and keep the foot on the floor or hover it up, it's going to be a little bit more work for you to maintain your length through your spine. Pull up on the low abs. Yeah, nice. And last one. Setting that hand down, lift the other hand to your forehead, push the floor away, rotate, square yourself off to the floor. Push the floor away, rotate. And as you do this a couple more times, try to find that connection around your standing shoulders so you're not sinking into the floor. If you added the leg extended on the other side, you should probably add it here as well. And each time, trying to connect into your core, try to keep your weight even between your upper and your lower body. And you're right on your axis, so you're not shifting side to side. Last two. And last one. And center back off. Feel free to add a weight to your hand if you'd like. You're going to reach one arm and the opposite leg out. Hold the arm and leg up. Try not to sink into your low back. So pull up on your low abdominals. Lower and lift the arm a few times. If you want to add a weight, go for it. And reach out and up and out and down. Then hold the arm and leg up. Take your arm all the way across the horizontal towards your hip and then reach it back overhead. All the way across, yeah. And now keeping your torso really still as you do this so you're not shifting side to side. You should feel some work in that standing hip to help maintain the balance. Two more. Circle the arm to the hip, reach back overhead. Circle the arm to the hip, reach back overhead. Then from here, take your leg a little bit to the side and then press your leg back up to the ceiling. It can lower as it goes to the side to kind of tap the floor. Lift it back up and behind you. Lower and lift, lower and lift. Four more. Trying to keep your shoulders, your hips, everything as level as you can. And last one, you probably are guessing what's next, which is add the arm and leg together. Arm and leg go at the same time. Of course, you could go back to any of the previous versions we've done. Two more. And last one. And then bring that arm and leg back down. Sit back towards your heels, stretch back for 2 seconds, and then come back and reach the other arm and leg out. Lift it up off the floor, tap down and lift up. This is kind of the beginning of this, and we'll build from here. As you reach out through the arm and leg, try to lengthen the head and the pelvis away from each other. You can add a weight if you did on the other side. One more time. Hold the arm and leg up, take the arm across the horizontal, back towards your hip, and then back overhead. Your body stays centered between left and right, and centered between upper and lower body. Arm and overhead, and arm towards the hip, and arm overhead. 2 more. And then reach the arm back overhead, keep it there, move the leg to the side, tap the floor, lift back up behind you. Tap the side and lift up. Keep pushing the floor away. Yeah, nice. You should feel your obliques working to hold you there. And then we'll add the arm and leg together. The arm and leg move, and then everything comes back in line with the body. As you're going, continue to push the floor away. Keep feeling that standing hip working to hold you centered. And 4 more. 4, 3, 2, and last one. And then set the arm and leg back down. Do a little shell stretch around your back. Take a breath. And then we're going to come to laying on our backs. Knees bent, hands behind the head. And we're just going to start with an ab prep. So flex your upper body up, looking towards your thigh, and then lower back down. And as you flex up, slide ribs to hips, try to flatten from hip bone to hip bone. And then we'll start to lift one leg into tabletop, kind of marching between legs as you continue. Lift, lower, and lift, lower, and lift. If you'd like to add to this, you start with the legs extended out straight. Lift one leg to tabletop, set it back down out straight. A little bit more work to keep the ribs from picking way up off the floor. So try to feel like the ribs are down and into the mat. One more, you're going to keep the leg up, hold it, and rotate your upper body towards that leg, center back off, towards your leg, center off. Rotate like you're trying to touch your elbow to your knee. Rotate and center, and rotate, center, 2 more, rotate, center, and rotate, and center off. You're going to lower your head back down. Keep that same leg in tabletop. If you'd like to add to this, you're going to try to imprint and curl the pelvis a little away from the floor to lift the bottom leg. Both legs will move a little bit. And then you lower your head and lower the legs by returning back to your normal imprint. So you deepen your imprint to curl the pelvis and return. And lift the head, curl the pelvis. So you're not lifting your leg, you're imprinting more, and that lifts your leg off the floor. That looks awesome, Amelia. Yeah, nice. Imprint more, curl. Like you're trying to tip your pubic bone towards your face. 2 more. Imprint more. And last one, hold the leg off the ground, single leg stretch. Reach out, reach out, reach out. And then add your obliques rotation. Rotate and rotate and rotate. 4 more, 4. And come back to the center. Lower your head down, set your feet down on the floor wide to the edges of the mat, and just drop your knees a little bit one way and the other a couple times just to kind of release everything. And then we'll do the second side. So reach the legs back out long. Or you can have the knees bent. One leg comes to tabletop as you flex up and you lower down and up and lower down. Soften ribs to hips, flex up and flex up. Good. You're marching between legs, so you're alternating which leg is lifting. Yeah, then the second leg is gonna stay up. You're gonna keep your upper body there. Rotate your upper body towards that leg, center off, elbow to knee, center off, elbow to knee. As you rotate, keep pulling the abdominals in. Last two. And center back off. Keep that leg in tabletop. And now you're gonna imprint so much as you lift your head, you lift the leg a little off the floor. If that's too much, just leave the leg in tabletop, leave the straight leg down on the floor and flex your upper body up. If you're lifting your leg, it's because you're deepening your imprint, you're curling your pelvis back so the hip bones become lower than the pubic bone, more so than your imprint. Yeah. Awesome, Elva. And last two, flexing up. And then we stay up, hold, and go into single leg stretch. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Add your rotation. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come back in, set your hands on your knees, and just stir your legs around in your hip sockets for a moment. And then set your feet down wide on the mat. Take your arms to a T and then a little bit higher than a T, high V. Drop your knees to one side. Really stretch your arm in the opposite direction away from that. Push that top hip forward. So you're opening the front of the hip, and then go to the other side. Tipping, turn and look towards the top hand. If you want to try extending the top leg a little bit, you can. And it'll feel like the leg that's behind you more. And one more each way. Rotate, big stretch. And rotate, big stretch of the leg. And then we're gonna roll all the way onto your side. And lay all the way down on your side with your knees bent in front of you, like tabletop position. Lift the top leg up to hip height. Push your leg directly out underneath you, and then open the front of the hip by pressing your leg back a little bit, but keep your ribs working so your abs are still controlling this. Bring your leg back to tabletop in front of you. Straighten your leg forward and flex your foot. Bend it back in. Push your leg back and extend at the hip. Just do that a couple times. Bend in, extend, flex the foot, bend in, and extend. If you want to bring yourself up onto your forearm, it's going to be a little harder up here to stabilize the torso. Nice, Lauren. Of course, yes. And then trying to take this into a full sweep of the leg, so your leg sweeps forward. You flex the foot, sweep the leg back into the hip extension, bend in, sweep the leg forward. Try to flex the foot when your foot is in front of you. Flex it and then point it as your leg goes back. Bend it in, extend, sweep back, bend it in, extend, sweep back. 2 more. And then 2 kicks forward, side kick, 1 leg sweeps back, top leg sweeps back, 2 kicks forward, forward, sweep back. If you'd like to come up off of the floor with the bottom hip, go for it. And forward, forward, sweep back, or you can keep your hip down. Nice, Gloria. 3 more, forward, forward, sweep back, forward, and 1 last time. And then bend your leg on top. Everybody come onto the forearm. Bring your hand behind your head and just rotate your upper body towards the floor using your abs, and then center yourself back off to the side. Do that a couple times just to figure out what's tight, where do you feel this, and see if you can go a little faster, almost like you're flexing from the sternum, softening back. If you'd like to add to this, lift your hips up off the ground and open, rotate and open. Nice. If you want it to be even harder, you guys could take your legs out to straight and do it here in a side plank. You decide. And no takers on the side plank. Oh, elbow, nice. 2. And last one, side bend, and then come back up. And then come up onto your hand. Knees, squeeze them together and just go into a big side bend, stretching your top arm up and over. If you want to rotate a little to the ceiling or a little to the floor, you can. You're going to do that twice more, however it feels good to you. Big side bend, up to go over, rotate. And one more time. Big side bend and lower down. Lay all the way back down on your side towards the front of your mat, so there's lots of mat behind you. Start with just lifting both legs up and lowering both legs down. And then we're gonna add our side bend. So you're lifting your head and your feet and lowering down. These are kind of the building blocks of this next part. So we're gonna start with that side bend, continue to come up, bringing your feet into a kind of tuck teaser position. Take your sternum and eyes up on the high diagonal and extend the back leg. Bend it back in and then use your abs to slide yourself back out. And you slide, your feet have very little weight in them, but they're touching the floor. You extend and you slide it back out. If you want to do this with the feet staying off the ground, it's just harder. You're welcome to do that. Hover the legs up. Pull the knees into the chest, extend the back leg, bend it in, and slide it out. If you've got your teaser going and you're pretty good at teaser, feel free to extend both legs here, not just the back one, but nobody has to add that. Totally up to you. 2 more like this. Pull yourself up from the abs, reach through the leg, slide back out using your abs. And one more time, use your abs to pull yourself up from the waist. Extend, awesome, and slide it back out. Once you get all the way back on your side, lift both legs. Take one leg forward, one leg back, keeping your pelvis from rocking as you're sweeping your legs. Switch, 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 go a little faster if you can. Try to make the legs move evenly in both directions. 4, 3, 2, and last one. And then you can swing your legs around to the other side of the mat, starting in that tabletop position. Knees bent in front of you. Lift the top leg up to hip height. Push your leg out underneath you. Open through the front of the hip by pressing your leg back slightly. Then bring your leg into tabletop in front of you. Flex your foot and bend your leg and reach back and crease in the front of the hip, flex the foot. That moment where you're trying to open the calf and the back of the heel, that should feel like a huge opening through the back line of the leg. I have all black on, that's why I'm taking my sock off. You don't have to take your sock off. And then start to take it into this whole sweeping motion. So you flex, and then as your leg sweeps back, you point. Try not to lift the bottom leg off the ground. Leg goes forward. You sweep your leg back, and the leg sweeps forward. Flex in front of you, and press back. Yeah. Or stick with the individual motions of it that we were doing a moment ago, whichever is working better for you today. Depends on how much brain fog you have from yesterday. And reaching forward, sweeping back. If you came up onto your forearm on the other side, that'd be good to do on this side as well. On this side, for me, I think most of us have one side where our chest really wants to rotate towards the floor. So feel like both shoulders and both ribs are facing forward the whole time, and you're not going to let them turn towards the floor. That bottom shoulder, keep it away from your ear, so you're pushing the floor away. Should feel like you could almost do this without your arm on the floor, but not quite. I mean, I know you can't levitate, but you're working on it. Levitating, yes, exactly. And sweeping the leg back and bending in, sweep through. And 2 more. And bring your legs on top of each other. Bring your hand behind your head and rotate your upper body towards the floor and open back up. The first couple, do it more as a stretch where you're rotating and trying to find some length through the back of the body, back of the ribs. Should feel a stretch from the back of your pelvis across diagonally to that opposite shoulder. And then you can make it a little faster. You can lift your hips up, rotate, and square it off. You can keep the hips down. Some of you went into a full plank. Go into that full side plank. Yeah, awesome. Abs pull you forward. Abs pull you forward. Keep pushing the floor away through that bottom shoulder so you're not sinking into it. And last 2. And last 1. And then extend your top leg out underneath you. Side kick, 2 kicks forward, 1 sweep back. As you do this a couple times, you can decide if you want to come up onto off your hip. Some of you did on the other side. And 2 kicks forward, sweeping back. Arm can be wherever it's helpful to you. Trying to feel that lift of the bottom side of the waist and the bottom shoulder. And 4, 3, 2, last 1. And then bend your legs, take your hand out and go into a couple of these side bends. You can rotate a little to the floor or a little to the ceiling, whatever feels good to you. Big side bend. And just do 1 more. Stretching up and over, rotate. And then you're gonna lay all the way back out on your side towards the front of your mat. Start with these kind of building blocks where we're just lifting the legs and lowering the legs. You should feel like some abdominal work here on the top side to do this. And then add your head and your upper body lifting. Think of your armpit coming away from the floor. Lifting yourself up, lengthening down. If that's going well, you can add your teaser to this. So you start with that lift and that side bend, drop the hip back, extend the eyes, take the leg up and hip back. Try to use your abdominals to come up and down and using your abdominals, pulling back from the abs. Extend the leg, lengthen through the upper spine, tip back onto that side and lay back out. Good, and then just smooth out all the kind of spots that are a little less than smooth. Yeah, make it as graceful as you can because I don't actually care how it looks. It's not an aesthetic decision here we're making. It's more that the smaller muscles and all of the different layers of muscles have to work to connect one movement into the next, which is why professional athletes look so graceful in their sport because they've got everything going. So we're just trying to emulate that to our best amateur ability. Yeah, good. 1 more time. Pulling yourself up, lengthen, and slide back out to your side. Lift both legs off the ground, 1 leg forward, 1 leg back. Trying to not hold on to the floor if you can. Find your balance. Scissor, scissor. 1 leg goes towards the front of the mat, 1 towards the back. And you try to make it as quick as possible. If you've used the Pilates equipment like the Cadillac table, so you imagine you had springs on your legs, the leg springs attached, that you're trying to reach into them. So you're trying to touch the end of the room down there as you're doing this. And 4, 3, 2, and 1. Roll onto your back, you can bend your knees, imprint and lift one leg up to tabletop and then the other. Extend your legs towards the ceiling. Take your hands to the outsides of the knees and flex your upper body up. Go into your scissors, little pulse, pulse, switch, pulse, pulse. Try to grab closer to your ankle and do pull a little bit through the leg. Sometimes I tell you not to pull the leg at all. Today I want you to open up the back of the leg a little more. You can flex your top foot or both feet. So open up the calf. And last 2. And last 1. And bend your knees back in and hug your legs into your chest. Roll onto your hands and knees. Come down onto your forearms. And then whichever side is closer to the camera, that's that hand, you're gonna come up onto that hand. So you're on back arm, forearm, front hand. Yeah. Then the same side, that camera side, leg is gonna reach out. So you're gonna lift and lower your leg, keeping your torso and your ribs pretty square to start. Lift and lower a couple times. Connecting to the back of your hip, feeling like you're engaging into the back of the leg to lift it. Then lift your leg up, hold it there, let your pelvis rotate a little bit to the side, then square it back off to the floor. Rotate the pelvis towards the side, square it back off. Try to keep the height of the leg the whole time so the leg's not starting to droop as you do this. Awesome. Rotate, square it off. Rotate and square it off. And if you can add a little rock back as you rotate the pelvis to the side, rock forward to square it off. Rock back and center and rock back. So you get a little bit more work in that standing hip. The standing hip's getting tired, just get rid of that little rock. Back and 4, 3, 2, and last 1. Keep your pelvis rotated to the side, flex your foot, circle your leg way up high, and make it a tight circle like the size of a basketball. Circle and circle and circle and circle. Feel the standing hip working to keep you from moving around. And reverse your circle. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. And then keep that leg in the air, but come up onto both hands. Round your back, pull your knee into your chest. Reach your leg and your head back out to the long line. Round your back to pull in and reach out to one long line. 4 more. Round and lengthen and round and lengthen. Last 1. And you can set that leg down. Good. Sit back towards your heels, stretch back for a moment. And then come back forward. Put the arm that's closer to the camera down on your forearm. Reach the leg further from the camera, out and up. And then just tap down and lift up a couple times. Tap and lift. Good. As you're lifting, you're trying to keep your pelvis as square as possible to the floor. Connecting into the back of the hip. On your next one, hold the leg up, rotate the pelvis to the side by pushing down through the bottom hip. So it's like you're pushing the floor away and that rotates the pelvis up to the ceiling. And as you do this a few times, try to keep the height of the leg the same so you're not dropping it to rotate. And then add your little rock back as you rotate the pelvis, square it off to come back. Rock and square it off. Rock, back, square off, and rock. Good. Try to feel like the pelvis is moving from the strength of that standing hip. 4, 3, 2, And last one, keep the pelvis rotated to the side, flex your foot, leg is really high from the glutes, circle about the size of a basketball, circle. And then reverse, use your breath just to help you stabilize. And then bring yourself up onto your hand, bend that same leg in as you round your back, reach out and lengthen, and round your knee under, reach out and lengthen. And 4 more. Two more. And last one. And then bring your knees back under you, round your back. If you want to do that little semicircle of your hips, kind of swinging your hips one side to the other in a C shape, if that feels better than a shell stretch, you're welcome to do that. Good. I'm just going to turn to face you so it's obvious what's going on, but hands and knees, one leg is going to reach out to the side. The other arm is going to reach out to the side. So opposite long arm as leg. And then thread under, rotate your upper body. And then open your arm to the side, push the floor away and try to rotate more up to the ceiling. Thread under, rotate, try to open up to the ceiling. Yeah, thread under. Yeah, as you thread your arm under, still stay long through the spine so you're not kind of crunching up into cat back. Feel like you're lengthening the spine. It's just slightly different. Yeah. And one more time. Rotate under and rotate to the ceiling. Come down onto both forearms. And you decide how big this is, but you're going to lift your leg up and back behind you and then try to put your foot down right where you got it from and lift it back up again. You're not really putting your weight down into it. Should feel like your obliques have to work a lot to keep you from shifting off to the opposite side. So the more you shift towards the straight leg to the side, the harder this will be for you. If you shift way far away from that straight leg, it becomes much more easy for you. Yeah. So as much as you can, shift your leg towards the side that the leg is going to. Yeah. If you shift enough, it feels almost impossible. You kind of have to fine tune that. And 2 more. And last one. And then set that knee down. Come back up onto your hands and knees. The other leg reaches out to the side. Opposite arm is leg to the side. You look under and then you rotate open to the ceiling. And thread under and rotating up to the ceiling. Yes, good. And as you rotate one way and then the other, just trying to see if you can lengthen your spine. Let your pelvis move. So you'll feel more stretch if you allow the pelvis to shift one way and then the other, opening up through your inner thighs. One more, and under, and rotate. And then bring your forearms down, both of them. Lift your leg up and back behind you, and then tap towards the side of the floor. And as you go to the side, try to lean or shift yourself towards that leg as it goes to the side as much as you can. So you're using as little counterbalance as you can and more obliques. To the side, up and back. To the side, up and back. Four more. Shift yourself. If you don't feel anything, shift yourself towards the straight leg. Last one. And then bring your knees back in. Sit back into a little shell stretch. And then come to sitting. So make sure there's some space behind you. Hold on to the back of the knees, sit up really tall. Just start by rounding back, opening across the front of the hips, and then lifting yourself back up tall. If you'd like, you could have one leg lifted, or you could have both legs lifted, but you're still trying to open across the front of the hips and then tighten up the ball shape to bring your chest towards your knees. Open across the front of the hips by rounding through your lower back, scooping and coming back up. If you want it to be a little harder, extend one leg out and pull it back in, alternating between legs so that you can't hold on as much, or reach both arms forward the whole time. Roll back, good, and round back and pull up and in. Exactly, so you're trying to scoop the abs to come up. Round back, scoop the abs to come up. Nice, everyone. 2 more. And then set your feet down for a second. Roll all the way down, letting your arms reach up over your head as far away from you as they can. Circle your arms around and roll back up. Do that again, kind of your vacation now, hopefully. Feels nice to articulate the spine and roll through. Straighten your legs, turn your knees and your toes inward and do a little pulse over the legs. As you roll down, bend your knees back in and reach the arms overhead. Circle the arms around, push your legs out away from you, turn in, little pulse. And one more time, rolling down, circling the arms around, reaching over the legs, little pulse, and then we're gonna stop at the top. I know that usually you get to go all the way down, but not today. You're gonna take your hands to the back of the knees again, round to the back of your sit bones, lift your feet up off the ground, roll back and flex your feet as your legs go overhead, and straighten your legs, and then bend your knees to come back up and find your balance. So it's like a wide-legged rolling like a ball with a little suspension at the top. So you're suspending to straighten the legs, and then you're suspending when you get up into your balance. If you'd like to add to this, you could add your teaser spine, so you're lifting your eyes and lengthening your spine up, and then you round your back to roll, and you come up. If you want to go into your full open leg rocker, you're welcome to do that as well. Rounding back and scoop length into your teaser. Flex your feet as you go back. Point your feet as you come up and lengthen. Yeah, do 2 more. Flex your feet if you roll back in your open leg rocker, and point as you come up. Flex when your legs are overhead, point as you come up. It adds a little bit of an interesting challenge. You wouldn't think that that would change it much, but it does for me, for sure. As you roll back, flex the feet. As you come up, point. Yeah, last 2. And last one. And then set your feet down. Come over onto your hands and knees. Hands under your shoulders, knees under your hips. So moments ago, we were doing something where you pulled your knee in and you were rounding and you're lengthening out to neutral. We're gonna do that again, but we're gonna do it in our leg pull front prep position, hovering the knees off the ground. If you wanna keep the knees down, you're welcome to. So hover your knees up, pull one leg in, round your back, reach out, 4, 3, 2, and last 1. Set that leg down, take a break in the center, and we hover up and round your back, pull it in, reach it out neutral. Round 2, reach out. 3, and 1 more, 4, reach out, bring it in, set it down. Awesome. So then we're gonna do one side right into the next. Of course, if you need to set down, feel free. Hover up, here we go. Pull in, reach out, and 2, and 3 in, and 4, Switch legs, round in, reach out, round in. 2 more. And last one. And then bring your legs in, sit back towards your heels. Little stretch back. So we're gonna do a little bit of abdominal work, and then I'm gonna give you 2 options for how you do it, but let's all do it the same way to start. So if you lay on your back, not that all the things we're already doing aren't abdominal work, but you know, additional abdominal work. So imprints, lift one leg up to tabletop and then the other, and take your hands to the outside of the knees. Flex your upper body up, double leg stretch, so your arms and legs reach out and you circle around. Reach out, circle around, reach out, circle around. 2 more, reach out, circle around. Last one, reach out, circle around. Hug your legs in. If you want to take this into a quadruped position, follow me. Otherwise, you're going to do exactly what you just did, a couple more sets of those. So if you want to come into this hands and knees position, you're going to hover your knees up and you're going to let your hips be a little higher so you have a little bit of a bounciness to yourself. And then you're going to round your back to pull your knees under you a little more and do a little jump back. You're not trying to go into a plank. You're just going tighter, less tight, tighter, less tight. If you want to jump further forward and jump to the outside of your hands, go for it. And then jump back and forward and back and jump forward and back. 4 more. Awesome, Tom. And 3 and 2. Good. And last one, set your knees down and everybody's going to meet back on our backs. So then we're going to bring hands behind the head, lift the legs up to tabletop, go into obliques. So bring one knee towards the opposite shoulder and then switch and switch. So there's this crisscross feeling across the abdomen. When we switch over to be on the hands and knees, we still want to feel that crisscrossing of the rib to opposite hip. And then you can bring your legs in. Take a break or meet me on your hands and knees. That kind of puma pounce position. So your legs are together, you have this bounciness. Yeah. Rotate your lower body so your feet point and your knees point to one side, then center. Little jump to rotate. Center. So you still feel that crisscross feeling. And then if you want to add to that, you're also going to jump slightly forward towards your hands as your knees turn to one side, center. Towards the hands a little as you turn side to side. Yeah, exactly. So shortening rib to opposite hip. Awesome, Gloria. Good, Dana. Exactly. And last 2, finish up even, take a little break. And then everybody coming back to our backs. And bend the knees, lift them up to tabletop. Extend your legs towards the ceiling, take your hands to the outside of the knees. Nod your chin, flex your upper body up. Scissors. So I know we already did them. So you should know them. This is what you guys are gonna do if you're gonna stay on your back. Otherwise, roll over, meet me in that little puma pounce position. Find that little bouncy place. And extend one leg up to the ceiling, bend it back in. Kick it up and jump. Kick it up and jump. So you're not alternating sides, you're just doing one side. Kick. And go faster, Lauren. Up, in, up. Bend your standing leg. Yes, switch legs. The lower you can get that standing leg in that pounce position, the harder it is. Yeah, awesome. Kick it up. Kick it up. Try to straighten the leg as it goes into the air. Last moment, 4, 3, that's good, Gloria, 2, and last one, and rest. Awesome. Let's all come to laying on your side facing me. One long line through your torso. Good. Okay, so turn your legs out and tuck your bottom toes onto the ground a little bit. You can use your hand on the floor in front of you if you want, but you're gonna bend your leg, bringing your heel up towards your knee and then push it back out. If you have less turnout than I do, it's probably harder because your knee is going more forward and it wants to tip you over. So don't feel like you have to have any certain amount. It's gonna be different for each of us, how this feels, but it should feel like your abs have to work quite a bit. You're thinking of squeezing your sits bones together as you bring your heel up and then push back out long. And then bring it up, push back out long, keep the legs straight, little lift, lower. Pull in, press out, lift, lower. Pull in, press out, lift, lower. Good, stay turned out the whole time. So now you are getting to use some of your quad to lift the leg. You can lift a lot higher than I am if that's available to you. And 2 more like this. And last one. And then bend that knee up, heel towards the knee, straighten your leg in the air, and then squeeze them back together. Bend, heel to knee, straighten, back together. Still feeling that connection of your sits bones in towards each other, and then starting to smooth it out so it's one continuous motion. Sweeping the leg, press down. Pull in, sweep up, press down. And 4, 3, 2, and last one. And bend your knees in front of you. Take both arms forward, take the top arm forward. Big spinal rotation, rotating. Reach your top shoulder and arm away from the top knee and hip. So you're creating 2 directions like that wringing out a towel feeling. Using your breath to sink a little further. And last breath here. On your next exhale, come all the way back to the start and roll onto your stomach. Separate your legs and turn them out towards the corners of the mat. Nothing too fancy here. Bend your elbows to the W shape and connect your glutes so you feel the glutes helping you as you come up into your swan dive as far as it's comfortable, and then lengthening back down. Reaching the head and the feet away from each other. If you want to do a little bit of a slow rock, you can, where you're letting yourself teeter by lifting the back of the thighs. Feel like the head stays up and back and the legs tip you forward, and then the back of the head, ponytail, pulls back and that brings you back up. Yeah, exactly. Good. One more moment here of whatever you're doing. Last wrap or time. And then push yourself back into a shell stretch. Round your back and lay on your second side. One long line, legs turned out so the toes are kind of tucked under on the mat. You might only be able to get a couple of them on there, and that's okay. Flex both feet, kind of Mary Poppins position here. Pull your heel up and then push back out, long through the waist. So as the heel comes up, the hip isn't shortening on this side. So you're keeping this waist, the integrity of the waist long. Push out, and then we add our little lift lower. So you feel like the sits bones are coming towards each other. You're trying to find that connection of the glutes and the back of the hip. It's not just a kind of, cracking walnuts, squeezing kind of feeling. It's more a functional thing. So when we go into our swan dive again in a moment, should feel like you have that connection of the back of the hips to help support the movement, so that the abs are working from the front of the body, the glutes are working from the back to stabilize and move your pelvis. 2 more. And lift, lower, bend in, and lift, lower, then bend in, extend, sweep down. Bend in, you can extend and sweep down. It's totally fine if you lift the thigh closer to you as long as you can straighten there. Extend and sweep. Bend, extend, and sweep. 3 more. 2. And last one. Good. And then we're going to roll onto our stomachs, legs apart like we were a moment ago, arms apart overhead, swimming. So reach out through the arms and legs, float the arms and legs off the ground, including your nose, your face. Opposite arm and leg floats a little higher. And as you do that a few times, see if you can keep your shoulders away from your ears. Yeah, and find that cross of the hands all the way across the back to the opposite side of the pelvis, to the opposite glute. You can go as fast as you want or as fast as you can stabilize. Yeah, opposite. And then lengthen everything and lower everything back down. Do this one more time. Get so long, the crown of the head and the feet and the arms reach away from the legs and the lower body, and taking it a little faster. Opposite arm and leg floats a little higher. Swim, swim, swim. Good. Gloria, you're doing harder arms than you need to. Just lift one arm, like your arms are in a Y over your head, and one arm is coming higher than the other off the ground. Yes. I don't think you could actually float and swim like this, but so I understand the confusion. And then lower all the way back down. Push yourself back onto your heels into a little shell stretch. Tuck your toes under, shift your weight back over your feet. Stand through the legs. Let the upper body drape forward. Let your head hang for a second. However it feels good to you, you can shake your head like yes or no. And then you're going to drop the back of the pelvis, roll up to standing. We're going to roll right back down to the mat. Nod the chin, roll through the spine. Walk your hands out into your plank. 1, 2. You're in your plank, you're in your plank. Hold the plank or set your knees down and hold a plank. If you want it to be harder than either of those options, tap one foot out to the side and then bring it back behind you. Tap, behind you, tap, back, tap, back. Alternate, go, 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 go. Faster, faster. Get your hips down a little lower. Awesome. 3, 2-ish. And last one, round your spine, look towards your feet, curl your spine to walk yourself back towards your feet. Bend your knees, drop the back of the pelvis, roll yourself up. One more time, roll down. Walk your hands out into your plank or your kneeling plank. You can do a little push-up here, down and up. We're not going to do the 3s. So you're just going down a little, up, down a little, up. Yes. Down and up one more time. Just set your knees down, sit back towards your heels into a little shell stretch. So for those of you who want, we're going to kind of combine the last 2 things we did. And we're going to come back into our plank or kneeling plank and those little push-ups. So you're in your plank. This time you're going to pull one knee towards the elbow and bring it back out. You're taking weight off of it, knee to elbow, knee to elbow. As you do that, go down in your push-up. So go down and up. Both feet are down as you come up. Yes, down and up, down and up. 4 more if you can. Awesome, everyone. 3, 2, good. And last one, sit back. You're gonna actually sit all the way back so you can roll onto your back. Take your arms out up to the side. Drop your knees to one side, big rotational stretch. If you wanna straighten the top leg, you can. Bring your legs back through the center, hug them in towards your chest. Drop your knees the second way. Little sweep of the leg. Should feel kind of nice. You can let the knees pull in way into your chest as you tip from side to side so that it's not a lot of abdominal work. It's more a release. Yeah, awesome. And then stay on one side, extend the leg, look in the opposite direction, try to rotate your torso open a little further, a little further. And then everything comes back into the middle. And you tip your legs the other way, you turn and look the other way. You reach through the leg, big twist, letting your ribs sink down. And then you come back to laying on your back. You can roll to your side, push yourself up to sitting, and you're all done. Yay, awesome work.